One man is rewriting the rules and taking it to another level.
And the next level, and the next level.
The seventh level.
You just feel how natural it is. You feel how open you become to your prospects, and in response, they usually become more open to you.
Founded by Jeremy Miner, Seventh Level is the only friction-free sales system guaranteed to raise revenue.
In my life, it's been revolutionary.
And his followers are feeling the difference.
His training has transformed everything.
It is precise, and it really draws out emotions.
People around the world are starting to catch on.
We're going to tie in the new model of selling to your product or service that you sell.
These tools can work for anyone in any industry at any time.
And it's time to get on board before the ship sets sail. It's Seventh Level with Jeremy Miner.
All right, we are here. Welcome to this live. 1 second. Hold on a second. Hold on. All right, we're live. All right, so typically every Wednesday of every week, we go live on StreamYard, and we go live in our Facebook group, Sales Revolution. I want to say 126, 127,000 of you in there follow me around. That thing is growing like crazy. We also go live on our YouTube channel. I want to say 6 months ago, we had maybe 40,000 subs. Now we have like 160,000 subs or somewhere in that range. That's starting to grow. We're starting to put out some long form videos there. Going live in our Facebook business page, about 170 some thousand of you run around there. Our LinkedIn and my personal page as well. Now every Wednesday, and this is Tuesday, haven't lost my brains, but every Wednesday we go live with a client from usually a completely different industry, because we train 161 different industries now, including yours, watching me here in this Nike black shirt here today that I've got on. And we break down their sales process, and we have them give you knowledge that we've trained them to help you sell more, like different questions, how to use your tone, how to prevent objections from happening, how do you get the prospect to let their guard down, how do you get them to emotionally open up. Okay, now it is Tuesday, but I'm going to be gone tomorrow, so we won't have a live. I'm flying up to Salt Lake City, Utah. I'm one of the main speakers at an event called SolarCon. There's about 5,000 or so solar salespeople that I'll be training really how to tie an NEPQ to their industry. That's a big industry we train as well. So if you're in solar and at SolarCon, you'll probably see me down there with about 8 or 10 of our team that we're bringing in as well. So today we decided just to do the interview today rather than tomorrow. And next week we will have a specific training we always do on Tuesdays. All right. I think we actually have a 5-day virtual sales training challenge next week that you'll be invited to if you want to go to that. Pretty awesome stuff. Now, today we're going to interview a client, and we're going to show you how this client went from one industry to another really without any, like, if you ever switched for, like, I sold cars and then I sold insurance, or I sold insurance, then I went to cybersecurity, or whatever it is, you switch industries and it just took you a long time to figure it out. You just didn't really do well as maybe you did as the industry before. So we're going to show you how to make that transition and how to use NEPQ in any industry there is, because we already train all these other industries seamlessly. We have so many clients that go from selling one thing. They could go selling from business to consumer to business to business. It takes them about a month or so to transition NEPQ over, but then it's pretty smooth. They're just kind of free flowing, flying out. They understand human behavior, human psychology, and what actually to do. So we're going to talk to this gentleman. We're going to pull him up today. He went from converting, let's say he had 10 sales calls. Before NEPQ, he was converting about 2 of those, 20%. After NEPQ, I actually waffled. I thought it was 63%. His conversions are now up over 70%. So I apologize. I made him look bad. He more than tripled his conversions. Now, when you triple your conversions, what does that typically do for you? Now, if you're straight commissions, if you tripled your conversions, your sales, probably what does that mean? Well, you probably do a lot better with your commissions, right? If you're like maybe a high base and low commissions, Maybe it makes you more commissions as well. Or maybe they increase your base, or maybe you get promoted because you're out selling everybody else. Okay. So we're going to interview this gentleman. Now, if you are brand new, you just started following me here. I'm the founder of Seventh Level. We're obviously a sales training organization. You should know that by now. So we train sales people like you, sales professionals like you, sales executives like you, sales leaders, managers, VPs of sales, business owners, entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, anyone that sells any product, service, program, anything. And we train you how to use human behavior in your sales process. So we're going to train you the right questions to ask for your industry. If you're a client, we're going to train you how to use your tone to get the prospect to let their guard down. We're going to train you how to use your tonality and your body language if they can see you to get them to trust you enough to want to open up to you. We're going to train you even how to prevent objections from even happening in the prospect's mind. That's called objection prevention. And if you still do get an objection here and there, we're going to show you how to easily help the prospect to overcome it themselves. Okay. Now, here's what I'm going to have you do. I'm going to have you go down to your phone at the bottom of your phone, because I know you're probably on the phone. I want you to post, if you're on the live right now, post #live. So I want each of you, I can see all of you. There's a ton of you here on YouTube. There's a ton of you here on the Facebook group, LinkedIn, and the business page. So make sure you go down to your chat, wherever you're at, whatever chat you're on. I want you to post #live if you're on the live. I better see hundreds of #lives right now. And if you're on the replay, I want you to post #replay. So post #live, #replay, because I don't have to bring this client out to help you learn how to sell more. It's a nice day here in Scottsdale. Just go out here and walk around the corner here, eat some lunch, grab a little bit of dinner time. It's about 3:30 here in Arizona right now. So I better see a lot of #lives, a lot of #replays. Now, I'm also, hey, welcome a lot of you. Welcome Jesse all the way over in the Netherlands. Eric, Fatima, Abraham, Ben. There's a lot of Facebook people here. It just says Facebook user on StreamYard. They don't actually give you the name. See Carla there on YouTube. Now, I also want you to smash the heart button, and I want you to smash the like button. Oh, we got somebody from the Philippines here. Araniel, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right. Letitia, welcome. I'm really bad with names. I'm from Arkansas. We don't know how to pronounce names down there. Okay. So smash the heart button, and I want you to smash the like button several times. How was Patrick? David, it was a great event. I didn't actually meet Patrick. He was a speaker later on, and I was already gone by the time he got up on stage. But it was his company. He was the CEO of PHP, a big insurance company. Great company, great crowd. People just wanting to learn how to sell more, right? Okay, let's bring out the person, because nobody cares about me. You only care about yourself. You just want to learn how to sell more. All right, Manuel, how are you, man?
Good. How you doing?
I am chilling like a villain. What are you doing today, dude?
Just finished with some clients earlier today.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff. Now you go by Manny, from what I understand, right? That's what my team was saying.
Yeah, Manny.
Okay, perfect. All right. So tell us what industry you're in. I believe you're in the fitness industry, right? Like a personal trainer?
Correct.
Okay. So if you're a personal trainer, what are you trying to do? You're trying to get clients and get more clients, right? So you are in fact in sales. So it's an interesting story that you had, because I got on here about 10 minutes before you got in here. Are you in our NEPQ 3.0 program or Advanced Inner Circle?
3.0.
Okay, so you're in the 3.0 program. And from what I understand, you've been a client for a couple of years now, right?
Yeah, I started with 2.0.
You started with like NEPQ foundations or NEPQ 2.0 foundations. Was it 2 or 2.5 years ago?
Yeah, around 2.5.
Just a long time ago. All right. So from what I understand, you're now a personal trainer, but when you first started, you were mainly selling door-to-door home security systems.
Correct.
Trying to do personal training kind of on the side, right?
Yes.
How did this, because these are two completely different industries. You're talking about door-to-door sales alarms, which I'm very familiar with. That was the first job I had, was selling home security systems. Then going over to fitness, which is a huge industry we train in as well. How did you make that transition? I know you were doing it on the side the whole time, but how did you go from alarms to then selling clients on you helping them lose weight, gain muscle, all that stuff? What was that transition? How did you do that in your mind?
Well, with NEPQ, it's a script. It's a script that you're following. That not that you're following a script, but that it's a general outline. So the outline, you can apply it to any industry. So
Yeah.
what I was trying to emotionally tie somebody with a single mom trying to protect their kids when she's at work, or someone who's trying to live better and play with their kids into their 50s, 60s, this questions kind of hit the same.
Yeah, because in fitness, if you're a personal trainer, it's not just losing weight. You're not selling like weight loss or muscle gain. You're selling them the results of what the weight loss does for them, right? Now, for everybody, that's going to be something different. Let's say they're just a guy and they're in their late 40s, early 50s, and let's say they're 150 pounds overweight. What would be the potential consequences of that individual 10 years, 15, 20 years down the road? What could happen to them if they didn't lose that weight?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm asking you, what could happen? What are the consequences?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of diseases, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, whatever.
Yeah, heart attack, stroke, and death, right?
Yeah.
And so you might have a dad who is 130 pounds overweight. They're putting all that weight on their organs, right? That's not good. And maybe they're concerned that, hey, they want to be around in 15 years to walk their daughters down the aisle. Or maybe they want to be around to spend time to see their grandkids grow up. And that could be, man or woman. It doesn't really matter. So it's almost like you're not selling fitness or weight loss, right? You're selling them the results of what happens because of that, which could be more time here on the earth to spend with their families, make more memories, have more success in life, be able to travel the world. That's what you're selling, right? Yeah. So how did this work? So when you first started trying to get clients, you talked about, you got an alarm back there. So you talked about you'd maybe have 10 calls a week. Okay. So how do you get these calls? Did you advertise for them? How are these leads coming in fitness?
Well, now fortunately enough, I'm on the company website, so people can just message me directly through the website. But before, it was just if you followed me on Instagram, and I would then I would send a message to you saying, hey, I saw you. What attracted you to follow my page?
DMs, and then you'd book a call, right? They show up to the call, and you were only closing, 2 out of 10 before any PQ. In your mind, all these people you talked to had problems, right? Yeah. You could have solved them before any PQ. What do you feel was causing the majority of them to not buy, even though they had problems that you could have solved?
Yeah, potentially not painting the picture enough for them, not building enough gaps so they really saw what not starting a training regimen would actually mean for their future.
Yeah. So you just didn't know how to build the gap yet. Okay. You didn't know how to use your tonality. You didn't know how to use the right questions. Now let's walk through. So you started getting into NEPQ, a couple months in. What do you start to see shift in the way your prospects react to you, treat you? What are some of the changes you started noticing, even 2 to 3 months into the program?
Yeah. So with 2 to 3 months, I was really just 2.0 and just really watching those videos daily and taking notes on them. And what I started to notice was I felt more, I guess you could say, confident, just talking with people in general, because I actually felt like I could take them somewhere. Like I wasn't just scrambling around. I actually felt like I had a path to take them where I wanted to go in the conversation. So it gave me a little bit more confidence in order to, talk with the client, interact with them, and communicate that we actually have a solution to.
So you got a process to follow. So you weren't like necessarily winging it. And then how did they respond? Because you went from closing 2 out of 10 on average to now you're talking, you said between 7 and 8 out of 10. And what do you charge for your services as a personal trainer?
Typically it's a 3-month program, and the program is good for 3 months. It's $1,875.
Okay. So $1,875. So if you're charging around $1,900, per prospect, charge about $1,900 per prospect, and you are the personal trainer. You're kind of like a solopreneur, right? So you're talking about, 7 out of 10 of those. So let's say, that's 13,000 almost 14,000 every 2 weeks. So that's a little bit of, congratulations. Well done. Now, in your mind, because and here's what I want everybody to do. So in the comments, I want you to ask us questions. So as we're going through here, ask Manny the biggest question you have. Maybe like, hey, how do I overcome this objection? Or how do I get a prospect to lower their guard? Or whatever question you have, like what was, how did you transition from one industry to the other that was completely different? What was the biggest thing? So when you post a comment in the chat, it will help us if we know what industry you're in. And do you do inbound leads that book on a calendar? Do you do outbound leads where they put in their name, email, phone number, you're calling them back? Or are you just straight up cold calling where they have no idea who you are, your company is, they don't know anything about, they've never asked for anything? If you tell us that in the comments when you ask your question, that will help us understand kind of the context behind your question. If you just ask vague questions, we're just going to give you vague answers because we don't know. Okay, from this Facebook user, what was your biggest challenge with implementing NEPQ? I'm in outside security sales. Now, I can't see who the Facebook username is. What do you mean by outside security sales? Or is he talking about alarm sales? I don't know what he means by security sales. What was your biggest challenge when you first started implementing NEPQ? And just be honest with the folks, for sure.
Definitely sounded too scripted. It felt like I was overthinking about, okay, I got to say this question here. I'm in this part of the conversation. So I would say sounding too scripted and not knowing how to calibrate to the client itself was my biggest.
So you didn't know how to bridge from question to question where it sounded natural.
Yeah.
And then how did you learn how to do that?
I don't think there's a magic answer other than putting in the work and going through enough calls where you start to say, okay, well, am I going to keep doing the same thing, or am I going to try to get it, understand it enough so I can.
And once you got into NEPQ 3.0, that's where you have the weekly training calls with our sales trainers where we teach you how to bridge from question to question. We teach you how to make it conversational rather than just asking a bunch of questions, right? Okay, that's a good question. Now, maybe give us a few examples of some questions that we've trained you how to ask. Let's start off by, because you mainly do inbound leads that book on your calendar now, right?
Correct.
Okay. So what's a good connection question? Because there's several for your industry you have to ask, but what's a good connection question we've trained you how to ask? And how does it help in your mind and get the prospect to start to let their guard down?
Okay, well, the very first question I'll ask once we hop on a Zoom call or if they come to the studio in person is, so I'll say, so I saw that we had discussed about XYZ, whatever problem they had. What attracted you to want to have this call today? What attracted you to, want to sit down and see if it's basically what attracted you to want to get some potential outside help?
Oh, good. I like that. Now, you wouldn't say it word for word, like with that tone. I know you're not role playing here, but another way you could do that. So we would kind of flip that around. Like maybe you'll eventually get certified into Advanced Inner Circle because we would change around a lot of that. So walk me through. I know we were talking in the DMs about you losing some weight. Like, when you followed me here the last 3 months, what was it that I've kind of been talking about on the reels that caused you to, maybe want to look into this further? So in a verbal pace it out. Okay. So there's different things we'd show you there, little few tweaks here. That's good. But there's levels to this ball game. Got you this level. We just need to take you 2 or 3 levels up. Now, how do they typically respond to that? Why is that question so important with what you sell?
I believe that it tells them why they're there and why they're there in the first place, and what they're really looking to solve.
Yeah. Well, what it does is it gets them into results-based thinking quickly rather than price or cost-based. I got to get them to results-based thinking over price and cost-based thinking. So if I can get them to tell themselves why they wanted to look into this further, that's where we start to get them to persuade themselves. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. Rather than you qualifying to them, we're going to train you how to get them to qualify to you, because who has the problems? You are the prospect. The prospect. Who has the solution to solve them? You do. I'm speaking to everybody here. So we got to learn how to get them to qualify to us, not you qualifying to them, because you're not the one that has the problems, right? Okay. What's a good, there's other connection questions you have to ask after that, but that's a good start. What about situation questions? What's a good situation question we've trained you how to ask that really helps the prospect understand what their real situation is? Because most don't understand what that is when you first start talking to them, right?
Yeah. So let's say they gave me that they had back pain or something. I said, well, what are you currently doing to address the back pain?
Yeah. So, and then you'd probably ask some other questions before that. So you'd probably say, oh, what type of back pain do you have? Like what part of your back do you have it in? Oh, the lower back. So what have you been doing to try to get rid of the back pain? Oh, I've been doing this, I've been doing that. Now they start to tell you what they've been doing. So how does that help you, Manny? If you understand kind of what they've been doing or doing right now, what does that help you with down the road?
You know, just kind of what they need, what they haven't been doing.
Well, it helps you get an overview of their situation, right? So you know how to better position what you're offering. Because if you don't understand their situation and then you offer them something, you're literally guessing. It's like throwing a bucket of mud against the wall, hoping and praying that something we're going to say is going to trigger them to want to buy from us, right? It's like the hopium drug. I want to throw the mud that I know exactly which mud is going to stick to the wall because the prospect's already told me. Okay. Yeah. That's part of our situation questions. Now there's other situation questions you have to ask. There's a lot more to that. Okay. Let's try to get a good question here. Okay, here's one from a Facebook user. This is kind of for your industry. How do you respond when a prospect tells you they already have a fitness membership?
I typically not running into that too much because you're booking on my calendar. But I guess before they were booking, I would say, you know, and I wouldn't off the bat just like, you know, say that these guys are no good. I would say, okay, okay, and like, how long have you been going with them? And basically, do you like what you've been doing? Okay, great that you like it. And then, you know, I guess if things sounds like things are going fairly well, is there anything you would change about the results you're seeing or the time frame you're seeing the results if you could? And then if they give me something from there, maybe I could probe off that.
Yeah. And you want me to show you a few tweaks?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because this is a common objection in your industry. So, first of all, I'd say, oh, yeah, I mean that's pretty normal. People have memberships. What gym are you actually going to? Oh, you're going to Gold's Gym. I'm just making some. Oh, you're going to Gold's. Yeah, I mean they're fairly decent. How long have you been going to Gold's for? Now, you don't want to say anything negative about where they're going, right? Because then they're just going to get defensive, right? Because you're a salesperson. You don't also want to say, oh, that's an amazing gym, because you're just making them say like, oh, I should just stay with them. Why would I say, yeah, I mean, they're fairly decent. Why would I say fairly decent with that tone? What would that tone seed in their mind, Manny?
Yeah, some doubt.
Some doubt. See how my tone can seed doubt just by simply saying, oh, yeah, Golds. I mean, they're fairly decent. What caused you to go with Golds compared to someone else? Oh, the reason why I went to Golds was, oh, okay, and how long have you been with Golds for? Okay, so you've been with Golds for the past 3 years. I mean, do you 100% like the results you've been getting? Now, why would I say 100% like the results you've been getting?
Yeah, keep building the gap.
Here's what. Yeah, that's true. However, by me simply putting, do you 100% like the results you've been getting? No one likes what?
100%.
100% of anything they have, right? Think about the person you're dating now, the person you're married with. The first couple of months, they were the angel. They did no wrong. They were perfect. You liked everything about them. 6 months in, well, some things you didn't like, and vice versa, right? See, we're human beings. We never like 100% of what we have. We always want to change it or make it better. So by me simply putting in that little tweak there, so do you 100% like the results you've been getting? Now, why would I verbal pause there? Why not just say that fast, Manny? What does that verbal pause do in the prospect's mind?
Let some more time to think about the question and to ponder about it.
Yeah, it gives them time to internalize the question you're asking. See, the biggest reason why most of you are getting, well, type in me if you ask questions that are good questions that you feel are good questions, but you notice a lot of your prospects give you vague, generalized, surface level answers. Type in me in the chat if a lot of your prospects give you vague, generalized, surface level answers from your questions. Like, yeah, sure. Yeah, I might be interested. They just give you vague answers. Type in me if that's you. I want to see how many. There's usually like hundreds when I ask that question. Okay, that's all the time. Okay. Now, what's a good? So that's that's a good problem awareness question. There's more problem awareness questions. You got to clarify. You got to probe. Why is it so important not to just accept the surface level answer that a prospect might give you there? Why do you have to clarify and probe? Why is that so important in sales, Manuel?
Keep getting that pain to be a little deeper.
Yeah, a lot deeper, right? Because what are the two biggest emotional drivers that causes a human being to want to change? Pain and the fear of future pain. So if we can't help the prospect relive their pain of their situation they're in right now and have a fear of continued pain or future pain, they feel no need to change. And if a prospect feels no need to change, there is no sale. That's why you get tons of objections, guys. That's why you're losing sales you could be making that our clients like Manny are making all the time. Okay, let's go to like solution awareness questions, because there's other questions you could ask in problem awareness. But what is maybe a good question you're asking in solution awareness questions that we've trained you to ask that gets them to focus on what the future looks like once the newfound problems are solved?
After I ask like the ideal criteria question, I would say something, okay, so and probe off that. Let's say we are able to achieve some of these results. How would that make things different for you than how they are? Like, how would that make things different for you than how they are now?
Yeah, and I know you wouldn't ask it that generalized. You want to repeat back the weight they said they wanted to lose or the muscle gain they want to make. So let's say that we come in, we put you on the right nutrition plan, the right workout plan, and we're able to help you lose that 103 pounds. Like, in your mind, what do you feel like you would be able to do? Or maybe, what do you feel like you'd be able to do that you can't do now? Or maybe you're just not your best at? Now, why would I ask that type of question? What does that get them to focus on?
Future.
Yeah, it gets them to see and feel what the future looks like once the newfound problems are solved, right? Now, why would I want to say the specific number of weight they wanted to lose rather than just saying, let's say we help you lose weight? What's the difference there in their mind?
More personalized.
Yes. Because if we just give vague, like, if we ask, this is for everybody, if we just ask vague questions that are generalized, what are your goals? Can you tell me what your goal is? Like, those are so vague that it just goes in one ear out the other. It's so abstract. The prospect does not visualize it. They don't feel it, nothing. But if I get very specific and I use what they said in my next questions, I formulate the question based off their answers, the prospect feels what? That I understand their unique situation the most. And your prospects will always buy from the salesperson, the company, who they feel understands their unique situation the most. You know why? Because they feel like you understand their situation the most. They feel like you can do what? Get them the best result. It doesn't matter if you're 10, 15, 20% more than your competition. They will always buy from the person they feel can get them the best result. Okay? All right. Now, let's go through maybe some questions here. How long before you felt you really had NEPQ mastered? I work in supply chain and logistics. That's a big industry we train as well. How long did it take you to feel like you really started to get NEPQ down?
I mean, I don't know if I even say I have it mastered, but I would say that to get real comfortable with it, I mean, I don't know, at least, 6 months.
Before you started getting it really down.
Yeah, get it down, and then obviously you're always going to get better.
So it takes some people a little bit longer than others. It'd be surprising. We'll have clients that they get it down. They start increasing sales even a month in, even a couple weeks in, even a week in. But it takes a while to master something. I want to make sure everybody understands. You might come into some of our different training programs because we don't have just one or two. We've got like 37 different versions. And you might start making 20% more sales the first month. But are you going to have it mastered? No. It's going to take dedication and a while before you're doubling, tripling, quadrupling, sales and closing percentage, because you got to put time in. We train you a lot. These are skills that most salespeople don't have. That's why most salespeople are average. Okay. We're training you how to be a top 1% salesperson for your industry. Okay. That's a good question. What about a consequence question? What's a good, because there's other solution awareness questions you have to ask, but what's a good consequence question we've trained you how to ask? And what does it do psychologically to the prospect?
Okay, so after I, build the gap as best as I could, I'll say, so, what could possibly be the ramifications or consequences if you really don't lose these 101 pounds and this situation really did continue for another 3, 6 to even 12 months?
And how do they respond to that?
Yeah, a lot of times if I've done a decent job up until that, they'll say, well, oh man, like that'd be horrible. I would keep in this state that I am, or I'd potentially get even worse. And they'd list off a bunch of things that are negative.
They relive the pain, right? So that builds a bigger gap. And we would teach you how to tweak that. That's a really good consequence question. We would teach you how to tweak that in Advanced Inner Circle. I might lean in and say, what if you don't lose the weight? How are you going to walk your daughters down the aisle in 20 years? Now, why would I use a concern tone there? What does that do?
Empathy.
Yeah. Because I want everybody to understand your tone is how the prospect interprets the intention behind every question you ask. So in that circumstance, if they feel I'm concerned for the consequences if they don't change, does that build trust or lose trust? That, of course, builds massive trust. So I lean in, what if you don't do anything about this and you don't lose the weight? What would happen? See, I'm concerned, right? Oh, gosh, I don't want to do that. Well, I mean, for you certainly sound motivated. I mean, why look at doing this now? Like, why not, just push it down the road like a lot of people do who never end up losing the weight? Well, the reason why I have to do it now is, see, consequence questions, we're getting them to defend themselves on why they feel like they need to change. Now, type in me if you want to learn how to get your prospects to defend themselves on why they feel they need to change their situation and do that with you. Would you make more sales if you learned how to just do that one thing? Type in me if you feel like you'd make more sales by doing that. Okay, let's go to another question here. Somebody said, would this help for solar? Well, let me ask you this. Solar is our 6th largest industry we train. So obviously you probably already know the answer. We train 161 different industries. Solar's number 6, 5th or 6th. It always fluctuates. I'm the main speaker at SolarCon this week in Salt Lake City. I speak on Friday for almost 2 hours. But just go behind that question. Do the prospects you talk to, are they human? Probably yes. Do those prospects have problems and or emotional needs? Yes. Does your solution solve those? Yes. So if your prospects have problems and or emotional needs and your solution solves those, then NEPQ would work for what you sell because it works with human behavior. So if you're working with humans, probably would work since you're working with humans, since it works with human behavior. We already train, there's only 163 industries on the planet. There's subcategories of each one. We're on all of those now. There's only 2 industries we don't train in the world. And nobody on here is any of those industries. I can promise you they are so unique and specific. I guarantee nobody on here is in those industries. Okay, let's go here. How do you respond? Okay, Rahif, how do you respond to prospects who show they're not interested? How do you respond, Manny?
Again, I'm not getting that as much only because people are booking on my calendar, but if they're really not interested, potentially you haven't brought up enough pain or really found out, what their actual issue is.
Yeah, that's a downstream issue. Like, it depends on when they say that. Like, are they saying that right in the first 15 seconds of the conversation? That's a completely different issue you have than if they're saying at the very end of the conversation and or conversations. Those are 2 different ways for us to respond. So try to get a little bit more specific with that, and we can answer that question help a little bit better for you here. Let's do this. What is your cold call with prospects? Jason, Legal Services. Cold call with prospects. Well, Jason, here, let me tell you what you don't want to do. You don't want to sound like everybody else. Okay. You don't want to sound like this. Hi, is this John? Yeah. Hey, John, it's Jeremy Miner with XYZ Company. Hey, listen, the reason why I called you was click. Why? Because you sound like everybody else. Most salespeople that cold call in any industry, my name is, I'm with XYZ Company, and the reason why I'm calling you is, and instantly, what does a prospect do? Salesperson trying to sell me something, the guard goes up and it's over at hello. Okay. So what we would do, Jason, if you're one of our clients, is we help you develop what we call problem statements and pattern interrupts that actually interrupts that pattern. Okay. Legal services is an industry we train, but who are you calling for legal service? It's hard for me to answer that question and show you like a specific cold call if I don't know what type of industries you're actually calling for your services, because that cold call would change and be tweaked based on the companies you're actually talking to. Okay. Message me directly if you want training on that, because it's a big industry we train, especially with cold calling as well. We got tons of people in your industry crushing it now. Okay. Any last words of advice, man? Any last words of advice you'd give to maybe a brand new salesperson who's looking to get into sales, or maybe even a vet who wants to learn more skills to sell more? They want to level up, right? We all know there's levels to this ball game called sales. We simply decide which level we want to play at. Any last words of advice you'd give anybody?
I would just say, right now, interest rates are going higher, inflation is getting higher. So like people are more, they have, they're more restricted with their finances. So
yeah,
if you're not getting through to them, they're already more reluctant to buy. So you should invest. I mean, if you want to gain any skill, you should be investing in that. So I would say, NEPQ has really helped me. One last thing I'll say is, when I first got into sales, everyone thinks sales are like scammers. And for me, just as how I grew up, I was like, the last thing I ever want to be is a scammer. So I want to make sure that I'm presenting myself in a way where I'm actually caring about the person and asking them related questions and trying to show them what they're at, where they can go. And NEPQ is really
think about it, Manny. If you can't learn how to sell properly to your prospects, they don't lose the weight.
Exactly.
And if they don't lose the weight, what are the consequences for them? Early death, disease,
their health.
I mean, sales in general in society is viewed at a lower status by society in general, right? But why? Somebody tell me, why are salespeople viewed at a lower status? Because if there's nothing sold, there is no economy. If there's no economy, there's no such thing as a society. Things have always been sold throughout the history of this planet. So if nobody's selling anything, there's no such thing as an economy. There is no such thing as what we know as society. So why do salespeople not have a higher status? It's simple. Because of the way we've been taught how to communicate that triggers sales resistance, that comes across more me-focused than the prospect-focused. Now, at 7th level, our core mission is to change the way sales is perceived in society, not just how to get better at sales. Okay, that's a byproduct. Obviously, we're going to train you how to sell more of your thing, but we're going to train you where your prospects are almost thanking you that you allowed them to pay them to solve their problems and get where they want. Now, type in me if you want to start acquiring the skills to get your prospects to almost thank you for them letting you, paying you to solve their problems and get where they want. Type in me if you want to acquire that type of skill set, because once you acquire that type of skill set, Manny, do they even look at you as a salesperson? How do they view you now?
Yeah, more of a trusted advisor.
Yeah, trusted authority, not even advisor, trusted authority, the expert who can get them where they want to be. This is a whole different ballgame. So for you who want to acquire that skill, what's your next step? Message me directly right now. So if you're in the Facebook group, Sales Revolution, if you're on LinkedIn, YouTube, the Facebook business page, my Facebook, just message me directly right now in the DMs. Just send me a private message. Now, if you can't figure out how to message because you're old like me and can't figure out social media like me, just in the comments, post hashtag NEPQ, and either myself or someone on our team will message you back. Now, there'll probably be like 70 or 80, 100 of you message us about this with everybody on these 5 platforms or more. I won't have time to message all of you back, but either myself or other people on my team will message you back. And if you want to learn, now, when we message you back, are you going to do yourself a favor and open up to us and let us know what you feel you're saying or asking that's causing you to not be able to sell to your prospects that have problems that you could solve? Because if you won't open up to us and let us know what you feel you're missing, like maybe I'm not asking the right questions. Maybe I don't know how to use my tonality to get my prospects to let their guard down. Maybe I don't understand how to get them to emotionally open up and trust me. Maybe I don't understand how to build a gap from where they are to where they want to be. So if we don't know those things, we can't suggest to you what's going to help you. So if you open up to us and tell us, we'll let you book with one of our account managers, and they'll go through the different training programs that would actually solve your issue. Okay. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Manny, congratulations on your results. You know, more than tripling your conversions, your sales calls. That's nothing to sneeze about, my man. How's life been different since you've tripled your conversions?
I mean, great. I mean, I'm getting my first house in a month, so I feel good about everything.
Not a bad deal. Somebody on YouTube, I have the NEPQ program. I don't know which program you're in. We have 37 different versions, some far more advanced than others. If you've just bought like an NEPQ Black Book of Questions, that's basic, that's generic, it's a book. You'd probably want to get into our advanced programs where you actually see me train, in video format, the advanced virtual portal, the 55-hour portal, plus the weekly group trainings where we're actually training you. A book is just a book. It's just words. All right, everybody, take care. Manuel, we'll see you soon. Everybody stay out of trouble. We'll see you next week.